I see the weight of your body on that chair now. I feel the slight tremor in your hands as you hold your phone, and I see your gaze lost on the living room wall, searching for an escape that your natural eyes cannot yet see. The silence of the house seems to scream that you are trapped, that the walls around you are the limits of your story. But listen to what I, your creator, have to tell you in this sacred moment. Your address does not have the power to label your soul. I brought you here because this encounter was ordained in heaven, not by the chance of an algorithm, but by a decree of profound love. You have thought, perhaps while washing the dishes or looking out the window, that if you lived in another city, if your family were different, or if your working conditions weren't so harsh, your joy would finally knock on your door. But what I will reveal to you today will deconstruct every lie that the hostile environment has tried to imprint on your heart. You are not the result of your house number, nor of the financial difficulties that try to dictate your worth. Many before you, like Joseph, who was governor in a foreign land, and Daniel, who remained upright in the heart of corruption, flourished where no one would have given them a chance. The same authority that sustained them is available to you now. Why is it that some deserts produce prophets, while palaces produce ruins? The secret is kept in what I will deliver to you until the very last second of this message. Trust me, for I know every tear that fell on the floor of that kitchen, and every prayer you prayed in secret at 3 in the morning, asking for guidance. In this journey of light that we begin now, we will walk towards the liberation of your true essence. You will understand how the place bends to your calling, and in the end, I will whisper a specific phrase to your heart that will change your posture before any giant. If this voice of mine is reaching the depths of your being, tell me your name below. I want to know from which country, state, and city you are hearing my call, and what time the hands of the clock mark there in your intimacy. And from the depths of your soul, like a sincere cry that breaks through the veil, leave it recorded like a seal of covenant. Lord my God, here I am. I unite myself to you in this channel because I love you, and my soul thirsts to hear you. Stay with me until the end. There is a clear answer saved for the closing, a promise that will be sealed in your spirit, and a powerful phrase that, if written in faith, will release prophetic blessings upon your home. You wouldn't understand if I told you yesterday, but today your heart is ready to understand that the scenery is just the stage, but you are the protagonist, guided by my hand. But before we move forward, I need to ask you, do you know what I truly see when the lights go out and you are alone with your fears? What I'm about to tell you about the silence of your kitchen and your plans will change the way you see your own roof. If you feel this is the beginning of your liberation, show your affection for this moment of peace. What have you been carrying that doesn't belong to your destiny? Leave our word of the day in the comments as a cry for freedom. Identity. I feel the cold rising from your kitchen floor and touching your bare feet as the coffee maker finishes brewing that coffee you sometimes drink without even tasting it. The clock on the wall seems to tick louder when the house is empty, or when everyone is asleep and you're left there staring at the yellow light of the refrigerator, feeling the weight of a day that seemed to last 1,000 years. You look at the cupboards at the table where so many difficult decisions were made, and your heart whispers that your life is summed up within these 4 walls. You feel small, forgotten among the tasks that no one appreciates and the bills that never stop arriving. But listen carefully to what I tell you. This silence that frightens you is my sacred laboratory. I am not merely on the altars of grand cathedrals or on the illuminated stages you see on your phone screen. I am right there, amidst the aroma of spices and the steam of hot water. It was in that same kind of anonymity, in the smell of earth and the sweat of faces, that I forged the greatest men and women who ever walked this earth. You think your plan is stalled because your scenery hasn't changed, but I tell you that the deepest movement of a river happens beneath the surface where no one sees. While you put away the dishes with teary eyes, I am arranging the pieces of your future that you don't yet have the authority to touch. Do not despise the place where you shed your most sincere tears. Many of my miracles did not begin at parties, but in simple kitchens, in rooms with locked doors, and in hearts that thought the end had come. This heavy silence you feel now is not absence. It is my presence enveloping you so that you are not distracted by the noise of the world outside. You have asked for a sign, proof that I still care about your dreams from 20, 30 years ago. Well, Here is my answer. Your current address is merely the waiting room for the banquet I am preparing. You have the strength to endure today, not because the environment is favorable, but because my hand sustains your burden. If you knew what I am writing while you think the pen has fallen from my hand, you would not fear the darkness of dawn. But I have not yet shown you all that this silence carries. There is something I am planting in the floor of your room that will only sprout when you understand that gratitude is the key that opens the door to provision. Before we continue, let me enter a little more into your intimacy. In the depths of your weariness, what is your silence shouting to me at this very moment? If you feel my peace flooding your room now, share this message with a friend who also feels forgotten in the chores of the home. And write here in the comments, accepting the purpose I have given you, my place. There is still a revelation about how your sweat will transform into seed, and what I will tell you next about the mystery of provision in the desert will make your heart burn with hope. My beloved daughter, realize now that each silent tear that watered your anonymity prepared the fertile ground of your heart for something much greater. In the eternal kingdom that I govern, nothing is lost. Everything that is given with love is transformed into abundant life. Just as I care for your home, I care for those who dedicate their lives to carrying my voice to the ends of the earth, reaching weary souls who cry out for help. If your heart overflows with gratitude for this encounter today, and you feel my peace enveloping you, I invite you now to a gesture of surrender and spiritual communion. If it is possible for you, only if your heart so desires, transform this feeling into a seed of love to sustain the work of this channel. Consider the divine love that sustains you and the sacrifice of my Son Jesus, making your offering through the link in this video's description or in the first pinned comment. There, your gratitude can be deposited and consecrated to me, the Creator of all things. You can contribute any amount, for I do not see the number, but the pure intention of the soul. If you wish, simply type the amount you feel. Always remember, offer only what fits in your heart, for I receive with immense love. What is little for you may be much for the one who receives, and what matters is the joy of the one who gives with faith. When making this gesture, please include your name and city with your contribution, for on the first day of next month, in a special video here on Divine Love, you will be remembered and enveloped in prayers and prophetic blessings before my throne. For it is written in Luke chapter 6, verse 38, "Give, and it will be given to you. A good measure, pressed down, shaken together and running over, will be poured into your lap. For with the measure you use, it will be measured to you." Every offering in faith is a seed planted before me, and I will not fail to bear fruit in your life. I see into the secrets of your heart, and I will reward you in the sight of all. Abide with me until the end of this message, for I still want to touch your heart with my voice. Imagine Joseph, that young man I chose, walking under the scorching Egyptian sun, his skin covered in fine desert dust and his feet marked by the ropes that bound him. He was far from home, far from his father's affection, and surrounded by people who spoke a strange language and worshipped stone gods. He could have become just another bitter slave, a man broken by the weight of his own brother's betrayal. But, while he served in Potiphar's house or when the cold, damp prison walls surrounded him, there was something about him that the environment couldn't touch. There was an aroma, a fragrance of peace and authority that didn't come from his Egyptian linen clothes, but from my presence that enveloped him. Perhaps you feel exactly like him today, on foreign soil. You look at your family and don't feel understood. You go to work and feel your light disturbs those who live in the shadows. You look at your bank account and feel the scarcity trying to tell you who you are. But listen to what I tell you now. Egypt did not change Joseph's essence, and this desert you are crossing does not have the power to erase my mark on you. You may be surrounded by thorns, but you remain my most precious flower. You may be in the midst of corruption, but your purity is what reveals my glory. For it is written in Genesis chapter 39, verse 2, "The Lord was with Joseph, and he became a prosperous man, and he was in the house of his Egyptian master." Notice that his prosperity did not depend on being back in Canaan, but on the fact that I was with him there in the midst of the trial. I am with you now, while you feel this weariness in your eyes and this desire to give up on everything. The place where you stand does not define your victory. What defines your victory is who holds your hand. I see when you swallow your tears so as not to worry your children. I see when you choose forgiveness instead of revenge, even when the environment pushes you towards hatred. That is the aroma of my presence within you. You are not a survivor of circumstances. You are an ambassador of my kingdom in hostile territory. Do not cry anymore for what has been taken from you, for what I have placed within you no one can steal. But prepare your heart, because there is still a daily journey of intimacy that I want to present to you, something that will sustain you when the world outside seems to collapse on your head. If you feel that your soul is greater than this place where you are now, let your voice rise to me. What still shines within you, even in the midst of darkness? Before we move on to the gift I have prepared for your strengthening, write in the comments our word of faith. Essence. My daughter, I see how your strength seems to ebb away at the end of each journey, when the weight of the surrounding scenario tries to convince you that you are only what your difficulties allow. You have been seeking solace, a safe direction from the pain that your environment insists on causing your soul. If your heart today desires to go deeper into me and find a safe haven amidst life's storms, I have prepared a special gift for you, a journey of intimacy that I wrote with immense love and care for all my beloved daughters and sons. The digital book called Divine Love Devotional, The Voice of God. It was designed to be your daily guide, a constant companion in those hours when the silence of the house becomes too heavy and you need a remedy for your spirit. You can find access to it in the link I left in the description of this video and also in the first pinned comment. And listen carefully to what I tell you. If today is not possible for you, do not condemn yourself or let sadness overwhelm you. Remain here with me, for I will continue to sustain you with every word of this message, because my presence is enough for you, and so that your heart may find rest, and there may be no shadow of doubt or confusion in your mind. Immediately after you complete your registration, all access and detailed instructions will arrive at the email address you provide, with all the correct step-by-step instructions, so that you can begin this journey of restoration by my side. It's not about what you have in your hands, but about who walks with you at all times, whether in the light or in the darkness. For it is written, "Where can I go from your spirit, or where can I flee from your presence? If I ascend to heaven, you are there. If I make my bed in the depths, you are there. If I take the wings of the morning and dwell in the uttermost parts of the sea, even there your hand shall lead me, and your right hand shall hold me." Psalm 139, verses 7 to 10. See that there is no geography that escapes my gaze or hostile place that hinders my care for your life. Breathe deeply, calm your thoughts, and remain steadfast in this listening, for I still have secrets to reveal about the Babylon that surrounds you, and the victory I have already prepared for your hands. Imagine the contrast, my daughter. Outside, the dazzling gleam of Babylonian gold, the hanging gardens that seem to touch the sky, and the incessant noise of a city that never slept and never worshipped me. Daniel was there, a young man torn from his home, surrounded by a culture that wanted to change his name, his language, and above all his heart. He walked through corridors of cold marble that smelled of idol incense and banquets fueled by wine and arrogance. He felt the weight of being the only one who still carried my name in a place where the sacred was a laughingstock. Perhaps your Babylon today is that group chat on your phone, where poison drips with every word, or that hospital corridor where fear tries to convince you that I have forgotten you. Perhaps it is that dinner table, where your silence is the only prayer left, while everyone around you lives as if I didn't exist. I see the lump in your throat, when everyone laughs at something that wounds your spirit. And I see the trembling in your hands when you have to choose between what is easy and what is right. You have felt this weariness, this exhaustion of trying to be light in a place that insists on being darkness. Daniel felt it too. He felt a chill in his stomach when he realized that the king's food, however luxurious, carried with it the taste of contamination. For it is written in Daniel, chapter 1, verse 8. But Daniel resolved not to defile himself with the royal food and wine, and he asked the chief official for permission not to defile himself in this way. Look, my beloved, the decision was not made in the palace, but in the secret place of his heart. He did not shout, he did not make a scene, he simply remained. And because he remained pure amidst the decay, I made his appearance healthier, and his mind 10 times wiser than all the magicians of that land. Babylon tried to change Daniel's name, but it never succeeded in changing his destiny, because his destiny was kept in me. You have complained about the place where I have put you, saying that the land is dry and that the people are difficult. But don't you realize that I placed you precisely there, so that the world might see the difference between those who partake of the earth's delicacies and those who feed on my word? You are my modern-day Daniel. Your character is my greatest proof that my spirit still dwells among men. Do not be contaminated by their despair, nor by the slander that comes from the mouths of those around you. Remain steadfast, because what happened at that table, when Daniel merely observed while everyone feasted, is what opened the lion's gates years later, without any beast being able to touch him. What surrounds you cannot enter you if you do not allow it. You are a closed garden amidst the concrete of the city, but we have not yet finished this journey through the desert. There is something about the moment when your pain transforms into a spring that will make people who criticize you today come to drink from your water. Before we take the next step, let me ask you a question that only your heart can answer. Deep down in your soul, what are you afraid of losing if you decide to be entirely mine in this difficult place? If you feel that my authority is empowering you now, share this message with someone who is about to succumb to the pressure of the world, and seal this moment by writing our winning word in the comments, unwavering. Look at the ground you stand on now, at this land you call a desert, which seems to drain all your energy even before the sun sets. You feel that your hope is like this cracked soil, dry and lifeless, and your heart cries out that there is nothing left to harvest in this place. I see the trembling in your eyelids from so much weariness and the weight on your shoulders when you enter that environment where no one values you. But listen to what I, your Lord, reveal to you in this moment of stillness. I did not place you in this scenario to be consumed by aridity, but to be my source of life precisely where everyone says that nothing can sprout. You have looked at the circumstances as if you were a victim of geography, a prisoner of destiny that threw you into this difficult house or this exhausting job. But the truth that heaven declares about you is different. You were not planted there to suffer. You were sent as an agent of transformation. Where there is hatred, you bring my love. Where there is discord, you are my pacifying silence. Where there is despair, you are my gaze that brings hope. You are not a product of your environment. You are the answer that environment was waiting for without knowing it. For it is written in Isaiah chapter 58 verse 11, "And the Lord will guide you continually, and satisfy your soul in parched places, and strengthen your bones. You shall be like a watered garden and like a spring of water, whose waters do not fail." Perceive the power of this promise, my daughter. I did not promise that I would take you out of the parched place immediately, but I promised that I would satisfy your soul right there. You can be a watered garden, even surrounded by stones. When you change your posture and stop asking, "Why am I here?" and start asking, "What does the Lord want to do through me here?" the atmosphere around you begins to tremble. That difficult person who has been pursuing you will begin to feel an inexplicable peace when you pass by, and that house that seems like a battlefield will feel the freshness of my presence that you carry in your lungs. You have an authority that you haven't yet used because you were too busy complaining about the dust. But today I give you a new pair of eyes. Begin to declare life over your kitchen, over your bedroom, over your city. You are my channel of living waters, and where your voice reaches with sweetness and authority, the drought will have to recede. But I haven't yet shown you all that this transformative power can achieve. There is a lie that the hostile environment has tried to imprint on your character, and I will uproot it right now. Before we move on to the next movement from heaven, let me tenderly ask you, if you were the only source of water in this desert, who would be the first person you would invite to drink? If you feel that my life is overflowing in you, share this word so that the river reaches more dry hearts. And write here in the comments our declaration of authority, source. There is still a profound truth about where your identity meets the eternal rock, and what I am about to tell you about the marks the world has tried to impose on you will make your soul breathe a sigh of relief, like never before. You look in the bathroom mirror, the one with the frame worn by time, and for a moment you can't see the woman I dreamed of even before the foundation of the world. You only see the marks of weariness, the shadow of sleepless nights, and that sparkle in your eyes that seems to have faded between one disappointment and another, between a bill that doesn't add up and a silence that hurts. The hostile environment where you live, the voices that surround you, and the circumstances that squeeze you have tried to engrave on your soul words that never came from my mouth. They tried to call you insufficient, forgotten, someone that time left behind. You came to believe that your value lies in what you produce for others, in what you have kept, or in the place where your address says you live. But listen to my whisper now, amidst that heavy sigh you gave as you gazed at your own reflection in the twilight of dawn. The lies the world has told you about who you are like quicksand. When you try to stand on them, seeking acceptance or meaning, you only sink deeper into anguish. When you seek your identity in the approval of those who don't know your heart, you get lost in a labyrinth of frustrations and emptiness. Your current situation has tried to label you as someone who has failed, or as someone trapped in a mediocre destiny, but I call you by the name that all of heaven knows and respects. My beloved daughter, my heir, my non-negotiable choice. The place where you are today is changeable like the clouds, but your origin in me is eternal and absolutely unshakable. For it is written in the Gospel of Matthew chapter 7, verses 24 and 25. Therefore everyone who hears these words of mine and puts them into practice is like a wise man who built his house on the rock. And the rain descended, and the floods came, and the winds blew and beat upon that house, and it fell not, for it was founded upon a rock. Understand, my beloved, that I did not promise that the winds would stop blowing against your window, or that the rain would not beat heavily against your walls. The environment around you may be in full storm, the waters of uncertainty may rise, and the wind of opposition may lash your physical and emotional structure, but the house that is your soul will remain standing. It will not fall because it is not founded on the sand of human opinions or the geography of scarcity that surrounds you today. It is anchored in the rock that is me. When you understand that your identity is hidden in me, the place where you are ceases to frighten you, because the God who sustains you is infinitely greater than any scenario. I see when you sit on the edge of the bed, with your hands on your face, feeling that your heart weighs 1,000 kilos, as if you were carrying the whole world on your shoulders. At this very moment, I place my hands on your shoulders and remind you that you don't need to be strong alone. Your strength doesn't come from your ability to endure blows, but from my faithfulness that surrounds you like a shield. The marks the world tried to impose on you are only superficial, but my mark on you is deep, sealed with the love that conquered death itself. You are not what happened to you. You are what I say you are. But there is still one last barrier that needs to fall for your new beginning to be full and overflowing. There is something about the end of your excuses and the beginning of a productivity that the world cannot explain, and I will reveal it to you right now when your heart stops looking at the ground and looks at the throne. Before we move forward, let me ask you in the depths of your soul, if you could erase right now a single cursed word that the world wrote about your story, what would it be? If you feel that the rock is firmly beneath your feet at this moment, share this light with someone who is sinking in the sands of depression. And write here in the comments, our affirmation of ownership, my rock. I see when you open that drawer of the dresser and run your hand over an old notebook, where you wrote plans that time and weariness seem to have buried under a layer of dust and oblivion. You look at the yellowed pages, and a heavy sigh escapes your chest, laden with, if I had, if I could, if people would help me. You have used your situation as a justification for your silence, as a shield not to try again, believing that the land where you are is too barren to bear the weight of your fruits. But listen to what I tell you now, while the clock on the wall marks the seconds of a time you think you are losing. The end of your excuses is the starting point of your greatest new beginning. You've been waiting for the wind to stop blowing and the sun to shine without clouds before you start walking. But I call you to bloom amidst the frost. I call you to bear fruit while others still complain about the drought. Often, your murmuring about where you are has been the blindfold that prevents you from seeing what I want to do through you in this very square meter. The place is not your limit is your lack of perception of my sovereignty. When you stop making excuses and start taking steps of obedience, the ground that was hard begins to crack, to give way to the roots of your victory. For it is written in Genesis chapter 26, verse 12, Isaac sowed seed in that land and reaped 100-fold in the same year because the Lord blessed him. See, my daughter, Isaac did not wait for the drought to pass, nor did he seek greener land elsewhere. He sowed in that same land, in the land of famine, in the land of hardship, in the land where everyone said it was madness to persist, and because he honored the place where I placed him, his harvest was 100-fold. I am the same God of Isaac, and I am there in your living room, in your kitchen, in your workplace that seems so hostile. The blessing is not in geography. The blessing is in your covenant with me. Your new beginning does not depend on a change of address, but on a change of attitude. Stop saying that your past condemns you, or that your age is a burden. I don't see years, I see availability. I don't see geographical limitations, I see hearts that surrender to my purpose. Leave behind the weight of the negative words cast upon your home and lift your head. The productivity I am releasing upon you today will not come from desperate human effort, but from the rest of one who knows that the owner of the land walks beside them. But prepare your spirit, because when you decide to bear fruit where no one expects, even geography will have to bow before the authority I have placed in your hands. Before we take the final step on this journey, I want to ask you a question that touches the root of your soul. What would you be doing today if the fear of failure in this place didn't exist? If you feel the chains of excuses are falling now, share this message with someone who needs a jolt of hope to dream again. And write here in the comments our declaration of a new time, restart. There is one last revelation about how your purpose governs the landscape around you, and what I am about to tell you about the spiritual dominion you carry will make your enemies understand who your Father is. Do you feel the cold metal doorknob in the palm of your hand every time you leave home to face this world that seems not to belong to you? You look at the peeling paint in the corner of that wall in your living room and think that your life is crumbling like that dry, colorless plaster. But listen to what I, the Lord of the earth and all that exists in it, have to reveal to you now. The landscape where you are has no authority to dictate the rules of your destiny. Geography, however arid or hostile it may seem, is obliged to bend when your purpose is activated by my voice that echoes within you. You were not placed in this neighborhood, in this city, or in this job by a miscalculation of fate or by a poorly made turn in life. I positioned you strategically. You are like a seed from an ancient tree planted in the middle of a weed bed. They try to suffocate you, try to steal your nutrients, and tell you every day that you will never grow, but they forget that my hand waters you in the secret of the early morning. The place where you tread becomes territory of my kingdom the moment you recognize who you are in me. For it is written in Psalm 24, verse 1, "The earth is the Lord's, and everything in it, the world and all who live in it. If the earth is mine, and you are my heir, then you have the legal right to rule over the atmosphere of this place. Stop asking permission from the environment to be happy. Stop waiting for the people around you to change so that you can finally have some peace. The peace I give you does not depend on the silence of the neighborhood or the harmony of your home. It is a spring that flows from within, transforming chaos into order. When you enter that office filled with envy, or that room where bitterness has lingered for years, you must not lower your head. You must lift up your spirit, for my glory within you is capable of changing the spiritual atmosphere of any environment in a few seconds. Geography bends to your purpose because purpose is eternal, while place is only temporary. You are passing through this valley, but the valley will be marked by your light. Wherever you place the soles of your feet, I will give it to you as possession, not so that you may own walls and fences, but so that you may own the spiritual influence that liberates the captives. You have the authority to bind and loose in heaven and on earth. Use this voice I have given you to prophesy over your dry valleys, and you will see life spring forth where before there was only dust. But there is still one final secret I have kept for our closing. A key that opens the last door, the one you thought would remain locked forever. It is the moment of emotional turning point, where everything that has been said becomes an impenetrable armor for your soul. Before we reach this prophetic moment, let me ask you, If the place where you are now were only the stage for your greatest victory, how would you walk through it today? If you feel your authority is being restored, share this message with a woman who feels imprisoned by her circumstances, and write our governing word in the comments: Dominion. Stay with me a little longer. The phrase I promised to whisper to your heart is about to be revealed, and it will be the fiery seal on everything we experience here today. I feel your heartbeat now, calmer, and filled with a certainty that didn't come from you, but from the breath of my life that crossed this screen and touched your face. You arrived here carrying the weight of a world that tried to convince you that your circumstances were a prison sentence, but now your hands are empty of that burden and ready to receive what is eternal. Look around you once more, at those walls, at that ceiling, at that city you questioned so many times. The scenery remains the same, but the woman who inhabits it has been transformed from within. You are no longer the victim of your environment. You are the authority that governs it. Remember that I did not call you to be a reflection of your surroundings, but to be a mirror of my glory. Your story is not written with the ink of scarcity or abandonment, but with the blood of a covenant that no place on earth has the power to break. I promised you, right at the beginning of this encounter, that I would deliver a clear answer and a spiritual key to whoever remained with me until the last breath of this message. That time has come. This truth that now burns in your heart is the weapon you will use to cross any valley and to flourish in any desert that life presents to you. The phrase I give you now, and which was whispered in your heart like a seal of fire, is the secret of all my heroes and the strength of all my daughters who have conquered the world. I can do all things through him who strengthens me. This is not just an old sentence, it is your new identity. Write right now in the comments with all the strength of your soul and with the authority of one who has taken possession of their destiny: I can do all things through him who strengthens me. By typing these words, you are declaring to the spiritual world that the place does not define you. For he who strengthens you dwells within you and is greater than all that is out there. Remain connected to my voice, for there is still much that heaven wishes to reveal to you in the next messages I have prepared for your sustenance. Continue walking with me through our list of sacred encounters, immersing yourself in each word I have released on this channel, so that your faith never falters. I still have secrets about your future that can only be heard in intimacy. You are mine, the place is mine, and victory is already yours. Wherever you go, my light will go before you. Wherever you tread, the earth will feel my presence, for you carry within you the Creator of all paths.